Hi, this is Scott Garibay. Today I'm going to be talking about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Mecha, Bushido, Samurai, and Ollie Ballard. Excuse me. All right, so this weekend I went to Otakon 2018. It was really fantastic. It is in Washington, D.C. on the East Coast in America. It is a world-class anime convention. And they had there was a focus this year on Mecha, right? The subgenre of anime. And they had a world-class expert on Mecha. His name is Ollie Ballard. He is a Forbes contributor, and he is the editor-in-chief at Mecha Damashi, right? And he brought forward one of the best insights I have ever heard about Mecha and the American audience that I've ever heard, ever. And I'm going to share it with you and tell you how it links to Dungeons & Dragons. All right, so Ollie Ballard said that basically Ryosuke Takahashi, he is a mecha anime series developer, essentially like a director, right? And that his work is highly underrated, and he did something that was absolutely critical to mecha becoming a popular genre within the United States of America. And so he explained it this way. He said, in the 70s and 80s, early 80s, in the 70s and in the early 80s, Japanese mecha were super robots. They were gigantic robots. They were like 60, 80 feet tall, and it was just one of them. And really what they were Bushido and Samurai rolled into a robot, okay? And they did whatever they needed to do to get the job done for the story, right? They were not, those robots, those super robots, were noble. They were, very noble, just like the Samurai class were supposed to be. They carried swords, and they were skilled warriors, just like the Samurai. And the nobility matched the Bushido code, right? So the nobility part of the super robot genre matched the Bushido code. The warlike aspects matched the Samurai history of Japan, right? And so the super robots have this history of being essentially Bushido and Samurai elements are mixed into the robot itself. Well, what happened was Ryosuke Takahashi comes along, and he makes a few shows. So one, he has worked on literally 3 dozen mecha series, including several Gundam series. Some of his standout stuff is Dugram, Blue Comet SPT Leisner, and Gallant, right? And so these are huge in Japan. They're not highly watched in America, any of them, right? But one of the things he said is, if you look at the Dugram mech, right, from Fang of the Sun Dugram, and you look at Dugram itself, it is virtually like a 95% conversion right over to the Battletech Shadowhawk. And if you see the picture of the two, they look the same, right? So how did that happen? How did we have Takahashi's Dugram go directly into Battletech, which is an American FASA corporation, right? Well, here's how it happened. Takahashi was one of the key directors to launch the real robot genre, not the super robot genre, right? And the real robot genre was saying, no, these giant robots are not Bushido and Samurai rolled into a robot. They are industrial vehicles. So Takahashi really treated Dugram and Leisner as industrial vehicles, that these mech had, that the form of the art of the mecha series would come from the function of the mecha. So the mecha had tools on it. It could do X, Y, Z. It couldn't do whatever it needed for the story. The story had to be written to what the mecha could do, right? And so he explained, so what Ollie Ballard, when you really check out his content, Ollie Ballard talked about was saying, before, super robots was really coming from a knight class. Samurai are a knight class, right? And so the British have a knight class, and the Japanese have a knight class. The Samurai were really a knight class. Americans don't have a knight class, right? A knight with a lance and a horse and all that kind of thing. And so without a knight class, we really weren't digging the Bushido Samurai robot, but we can understand an industrial machine, right? An industrial vehicle. We love industrial vehicles. We love vehicles. We love industry, right? And so when Takahashi came and launched the real robot genre, that's when things changed, right? And so that's really important to understand. So And here's the D&D part. So we really need to think about this, because there is no knight class in Dungeons & Dragons, right? And that makes sense. And I think that's one of the reasons why Dungeons & Dragons has been so popular and been so successful, and why you have fighters and paladins, and but you really don't have a knight class in D&D. And the reason why is Americans really don't have any wonderful sentiment for we don't really attach any sentiment to the knight class, because we've never had historically a knight class. And I thought that was a really key understanding. And as we play fighters and paladins, and I know there's knight elements within paladins, but as we play these adventures, these independent adventures, I think it's really important to think carefully about the fact that there is no knight class within America, and how that really fundamentally impacted character design within Dungeons & Dragons. Thank you very much.